What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're excited for this week's video. I know I certainly am. If you guys happen to be new to the channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, returning viewer, welcome back. If you're not quite sure who I am, my name is Zach. I am a web developer. I recently started working professionally in the industry. Recently got my first job as a professional web developer, and that's kind of what I'm here today to talk to you guys about. Is my first week working in the industry as a professional web developer. And if you're curious about how exactly I got to this point, or a little bit more about my background, I'll link my playlists or some of my videos up here in the top corner, which you guys can click on and check out some of my old content where I talk about my journey and how I got to this point. Just a little bit about the company that I do work for. So basically I work for an e-commerce company. We have an e-commerce site. We have grown pretty substantially throughout COVID times, which was definitely a positive to me because my previous industry rapidly declined almost instantly during COVID. So it felt really reassuring to be jumping into an industry that is rapidly growing during such a trying time, because there's been such drastic effects, due to everything going on various industries. So, it's nice to be part of something that's going in the opposite direction. So back to the topic and the reason for you all being here today, talking about my first week working in the industry as a professional web developer. So for those of you who don't know, I recently landed a position at a company. My professional title is actually front-end developer, and I'm very excited about that because front-end was kind of where over time I saw more of my passion leading towards. I do like doing full stack. Back-end solely is a little questionable, but I do like to dabble in the full stack, but I primarily enjoy front end. So it was a great fit, and I was very happy about that. So let's get right into it. On Monday, which was my first official day, this past Monday, I woke up bright and early, went into the office, picked up some Starbucks on the way and stuff. It was an exciting day. Figured I'd treat myself. So Monday I had to go into the office to do my new hire orientation, typical like sign your paperwork and the do's and don'ts and things like that. Just some real like generic paperwork type stuff that you would do pretty much starting at any new job in almost any industry. Nothing too special. So I did that check-in and paperwork process with HR Monday morning. Moving a little bit further into the morning, I met up with one of the guys from the IT department who, helped me get my my company email accounts and things like that set up so that I had access to all of the accounts that we use for our workflow, which that really didn't take that long at all. It took maybe 20-30 minutes, and I was issued my new company computer. I was actually a little surprised by this personally. Like, I know a lot of companies tend to issue like laptops or MacBooks, or primarily MacBooks, I guess, at least from what I see. But I was kind of surprised to be given a small desktop computer running Windows of all things. So yeah, that was kind of surprising. I haven't really dealt with the Windows environment in quite a long time. I'm not really a big fan of Windows. Right now I currently use a MacBook for all my personal stuff, and before that I was using Linux. So it was kind of weird to jump back into Windows, but jumping ahead a little bit, I actually spent this weekend transferring a lot of stuff to my personal MacBook so that I could work from that, because I really just like the workflow of working on Mac OS a lot better than working on Windows. And there's a lot of I'm just used to that workflow, and I really didn't want to jump into Windows. And there's just a lot of things I don't like about it, but that's a personal opinion, and that's like a whole other video in itself. So all in all, Monday, I was probably up at the office for, a couple hours, maybe like noon, 1 o'clock is probably when I rolled out of there. I went home, set up my desktop, had to rearrange my desk and everything, and pretty much spent the rest of the day, installing like VS Code and things like that, setting up my development environment. And that was pretty much all I really did Monday. It was really just administrative stuff, and then starting to set up, my work setup. So nothing too crazy, honestly. Right out of the gate. Moving into Tuesday. Tuesday is meeting day. So every Tuesday we have basically what you would consider a stand-up, but we do it with the entire creative department, which is more than just developers. And this is a pretty major meeting that ends up taking up almost half of the day Tuesday. Usually I think this meeting runs until about lunchtime, or anywhere from like noon to 1 p.m., somewhere around there. But it's a fairly long meeting because it starts at 9:30 in the morning. So it's pretty like nonstop meetings all day Tuesday. There's not a whole lot of progress being made, but once that meeting ends, you take your lunch and then you come back and you kind of have time to get a little bit of work done in the afternoon, going into the evening before you call it a day. So I was a little nervous coming into this job about what the expectations were going to be for me coming in. I was a little concerned like that, I was going to be biting off a little more than I could chew, or that I was going to be given something that I couldn't quite handle yet, or, the expectations of like what I would be expected to come in and do, working with, like basically a stack and a workflow that I had never used before. And I was really nervous about this. I wasn't quite sure, it kind of gave me that feeling of imposter syndrome, which everybody who's a developer has experienced at one point or another. And this, it was obviously kind of concerning, but honestly, it's been super great. And I was kind of thrown into the deep end, but it was part of like a learning experience, not so much in the sense of like, hey, like we fully expect you to be able to do this. It was more like, hey, here's this task, go and figure it out, with almost no explanation of like how our workflow works. And I totally understand like why they did that, because when you get thrown into the deep end, you will you'll go about the path of searching for things you wouldn't normally search for, and you'll learn more out of that experience. So that was a little bit, I should say that was most of what Wednesday and Thursday really consisted of, was being kind of thrown into that deep end. Like, not that they had any kind of expectations, but it was more so like, hey, just play with this and like figure it out. And I think that was a pretty good learning experience. We have a very small team, and I think that was a pretty good learning experience. And I imagine that's probably what I'll end up doing most of week 2 as well. Is just kind of toying around and figuring things out, getting used to the workflow, getting used to the code base. I was already told that, they expect it to take at least 4 months for me to get up to speed on the code base and the workflow before I start like asking less questions. And he said that that's not really just me, that's probably anybody that would have come along and started here. It just takes time to get used to a new code base and a new workflow, and it's really just an adjustment period. So I definitely felt a lot better knowing that there wasn't this expectation up front for me to come in and be productive and start pushing code right away. They're fully aware that there's this adjustment period to learn a new code base and a new workflow, and that kind of put my mind at ease a little bit. I did still feel some imposter syndrome while working on some of these smaller tasks. Basically, like, I've been given tasks to take existing components on the website and rebuild them myself, and just kind of see how they work, looking through their style sheets and what classes they're using and things like that, just kind of figuring out how it's all put together. Moving on to Friday, we had another meeting in the morning, not as long as the meetings on Tuesday. It's typically a smaller meeting that is composed more so of just the web development team and a couple other choice individuals, and we just kind of talk about like where we're at with things for the week and stuff like that. Not going to go into too much detail on that, but just think of it as another stand-up meeting. But I do kind of like this, the idea that we have such a small team. I think that it's going to lead to getting to know the team really closely, and I like that versus kind of the idea of at least for now, like, instead of starting at a massive company where there's a ton of developers, you don't really get to know anybody very well. So I think that I'm in a good starting place with a small team of good people that I can learn a lot from over time. But I think that one of the most important things that I've noticed about the team so far is that they haven't really like pressured me, like, hey, like you need to be like going and getting up to speed and all this right now. I think that it was really helpful to me that, like, almost from the get-go, that it was expressed like, hey, like I would expect it's going to take at least 4 months for you to get up to speed on all this stuff. And they haven't like pestered me or sounded condescending or anything like that. They've been super friendly, super helpful, Anytime I have questions, I've just been able to, shoot them a DM or something, or hop on a video chat with them, and they've been able to help me out. So it's been super awesome working with this helpful team right from the start. I can't wait to get up to speed so that I can be of more value to that team as well. But being that it's an e-commerce company, we're an e-commerce platform, there are so many tools and things involved in our daily workflow that are things that I have never done or used before. Certainly things that I've never used at Hack Reactor, and I think that it's kind of important to express this because there's kind of this stigma that especially that you get from job listings, that you have to know everything there is to possibly know. You have to be a full development team basically by yourself to get a junior level job, which by the way, my title does not have the word junior in it, so there's that. But you don't have to know everything. A lot of stuff you're gonna learn on the job, and that's pretty much everywhere you go. You're not ever likely to jump into a job somewhere and be productive immediately because you don't know their code base, you don't know their workflow. They probably use a bunch of tools that you've never even seen before. Some you may have never even heard of. I just want to put that out there for that stigma that you have to know everything. You really don't. There's so much that you're gonna learn over the course of your career, and especially at that first job, just like I'm doing right now. I think that the most important thing is that you're willing to learn those new things. But honestly guys, it's kind of late. I want to try and edit this tonight. I've already kind of lost track of my train of thought here, but I think that I've pretty much covered almost everything that I wanted to talk about, at least in regards to my first week working as a professional web developer or front-end developer, whatever you want to call me. But I hope that this has been helpful to you guys. If you're looking forward to hearing more about my journey in this industry, please hit that like button. If you're interested in checking out the future content, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. I try to post videos once a week, so just keep an eye out for new content on the channel. But that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll catch you guys next time.